Well, it is great to be back for another brand edition of Multisports, your weekend sports program that looks at sporting events happening in and around the country. Well, today we'll be talking about we'll be looking at three topics or three important things. First, we'll be looking at the way forward in Gambian football. We all know that a week today, that was last Saturday, a major hurdle has been overcome in Gambian football, and that was the adoption, or the would-be adoption, if I may call it that way, of the GFA draft constitution. We are now going to look at the way forward in Gambian football, and we'll also be talking about the GFA League, that is the first division league, because the second round is starting today, and Steve Biko are on top of the league. We'll be talking about the highlights or some of the major events of the first round, and we're looking into the second round as well. Haji will bring us with up to speed or up to date with what is happening in the GFA League. And we'll also be talking about the Champions League. We all know Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be the last four of the Champions League, and that is what everybody is now talking about in the world of football. It is the time that the boys are separated from the men, and the men are the ones who are there, because the likes of Manchester United have been booted out at the highest stages of the competition. Anyway, I'm just teasing. Gentlemen, I have Babukar Kamara and Haji Drame with me in the studio. My good guys who always come here on every Saturday to talk about matters revolving around our sports. Haji, welcome.
Thank you very much, Maurice. It's good to be back again, as you said, to talk about this very important three components that you just mentioned about.
Babukar Kamara?
Well, thank you once again, Maurice. It's good to be back, though.
Anyway, I'm flanked by two pundits who are making immense contribution in Gambian football. All of us in the sporting fraternity knows who is Babukar Kamara, sports editor, the Daily Observer. And then Haji Drame is the sports anchor, currently the head of sports, because Peter and Abdullah are all not here, so he's the man in charge of sports at West Coast Radio at the moment. So this, you can see, they are very good people who are very, 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 very cognizant, who are very, very well informed about Gambian sports and even sports beyond our country. So, without wasting much time, we all know that last Saturday was the Congress, the GFA Adoptive Congress, the second Adoptive Congress, where delegates at the Congress adopted the draft, voted in favor of adopting the draft constitution. 48 delegates attended the Congress, 27 voted in favor of adopting the constitution, and then 20 voted no. So at this moment, from the look of things, it seems as the constitution would be adopted, although the 3/3 majority needed to adopt the constitution wasn't there. But as from the look of things, we believe that the constitution would be adopted pending on the hearing or feedback we get from FIFA. Haji, you were there. What we are now interested here is the way forward in Gambian football. This was one obstacle that was derailing us, that was making our football stagnant at one place. Now that stakeholders converged last Saturday and the majority voted in favor of adopting the constitution, we are now going to look at the way forward from here against June 27, when the Adoptive Congress will be held, and then what comes next. So where do we go from here, Haji?
It's a long way to go, looking at the fact that the constitution that was drafted by the GFA Normalization Committee, which was adopted on the 13th of this month, April, which is last Saturday, is not the only obstacles in Gambian football. Perhaps we can say there are a lot of things that need to be done in order to reach at that standard. Looking for the way forward, that is what we will be focusing on as far as Gambian football is concerned. We have to look forward and see what is going to be the best aspect or the best perspective of Gambian sports. You rightly mentioned the 3/3 of the votes was the main priority that the Normalization Committee was looking toward this Congress, at least to see that Gambians definitely appreciate what they have brought up. That is the draft constitution which will be governing Gambian sports. But notwithstanding, because the majority of the day, as you mentioned, 27 to 20, the majority of the day say yes to the constitution and is now adopted and be the final book of Gambian sports. Then the way forward, Modest, it's a very big tax to the normalization committee. And you can agree with me that last week, after the press conference with the normalization committee, you had the vice president, the vice chairman of the normalization committee and spokesperson, Elijah Umar Sy, highlighting that now is the time for the normalization committee to kickstart with what they want to leave as a legacy in this normalization period. Can they achieve that? Well, 2 months, one would have said it's not enough time for normalization period to achieve a goal that they are looking for, but they can set the pace. Setting the pace, you have to go back where you start in developing this game and start showing the people this is what we are looking for, and this is why we come with this strategy in the constitution to make sure that at least we reach there. But to be honest, I'm not seeing things, reviving within these 2 months. It has to take another 6 to 1 years before we reach to that level of reaching the standard where we were before. Because we are not looking at standard that we are coming from. Where we are heading is meeting another standard where Gambians can look forward and say that we are also a super house in terms of African football.
We'll be talking about one very important aspect, or one very important thing that is entrenched in the constitution, the draft constitution. Yeah. That is the Football Federation.